Hey up lads and lasses, Damphyre here, back again with some more Infinite Lagrange. Today looking at a new preview for the strategic gameplay update. I have not personally looked through this completely myself yet, but it sounds kind of interesting what they're attempting to do here. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Dear explorers, greetings! We've been striving to craft a Lagrange network that is rich in strategy, and meanwhile we hope to deliver a more convenient exploration experience to all explorers. To this end, we plan to commence a series of strategic gameplay updates very soon, which include the three following aspects: org command, personal combat, personal development. Categorizing org operations and adding new features to improve the coordination capability within an org. As the shared strategic zone within org operations make significant impacts on collective actions and coordinated commands. By making adjustments, we hope to further diversify the org operations and provide more strategic options for explorers. After the update, org explorers will be put into two categories: rally operations and command operations. When a rally operation consists of a certain number of fleets from the org, it can provide the warp coordinates to the entire org, allowing org member fleets to travel to the org operation with warp drives. On the other side, a command operation allows org members to delegate their fleets to the operation, enabling the commander to issue commands on delegated fleets and transfer them to other personal or org operations. So this is quite interesting. Previously, we can't move delegated fleets between org ops. Once it's in that org op, that's all you can do with it. So this is for the delegation. So it's quite nice that we're going to be able to potentially move between different org ops. If you have a series of battles coming up on the front line, maybe you're flanking on the left, you've got a guy, org op in the middle and another one on the top or right. What this is going to allow you to do is, say, delegate onto the left flank. Once that left flank's collapsed, you can pull those fleets into the mid flank to carry on, and it can be delegated to do so. And that's just really nice quality of life. A lot of people, this game takes a lot of time up, especially in combat. So being able to delegate fleets like this is extremely useful. And it's going to allow your commanders that maybe can get a bit more time into the game to use fleets that might not normally have been there multiple times instead of just maybe once or twice in that one org op. So yeah, really quite useful. Whether you personally have to delegate between the org ops, we don't know yet, but we'll see. Obviously, rally operations also very useful since the changes in outposts. Not being able to warp to allies on the front line can be a bit more difficult. So having the rally operations now, because rallies were generally kind of useless before, but allowing it to get everyone to be able to warp to an operation without needing to send scouts and that kind of thing is really quite nice. And then from there, you can maybe move over and delegate into the org op or something of that nature. Since the org operation plays an even more important role in making the strategic decisions after the update, we hope every explorer will proceed with more caution when making org operation related decisions. The time interval between cancellations of org operations will be increased, now requiring 12 hours to be completely removed. This feature, I kind of understand what they're trying to do here, but at the same time, like I mentioned earlier, the reason people sort of delegate fleets is because they don't have the time themselves. And then if you can only make, I think it's 3 org ops or something in a union, this does become a bit of an issue, because if you've got all 3, like I said, you've got one on the left flank, one in the mid, one on the right, it means you can't just keep pushing the org ops forwards as you go with delegated fleets, which kind of sucks a little bit, but I understand that they don't want people just delegating fleets constantly. They want you to actually play the game a little bit. So, personal combat updates. Adding a subfleet feature and expanding the number of owned fleets. We've been striving to craft a diversified strategic experience for explorers, especially during the course of contending star systems in the mid and late stages of the exploration, where we hope to provide explorers with more strategic options. In the upcoming update, we will add a Subfleet feature. Explorers can upgrade the Subfleet command center to deploy fleets in the building and make them subfleets. The ships under the subfleets will no longer take up the base's max command points and hangar capacity. Instead, the buildings they've been deployed to will become their home port, and tasks will be carried out from there. When subfleets retreat, they will return to the building as well. When the building is under attack, subfleets dock to the building. If there are any, will launch a counter-strike. The ships in a subfleet will be treated as an integral whole and cannot be split. Sending reinforcements to or retreating ships from the subfleet requires a special command and consumes action points. So this is quite interesting. It's kind of a take on the, is it the military port or something that the guild has? But it seems like it's a bit more sort of personal, as in each player can do this. And the fact that when you send ships and it gives them the ships basically without any command points and hangar capacity, that's really useful, because that's going to allow you to rebuild maybe like 2-3 fleets of ST-59s or solar whales with Vetus Bs on and that kind of thing, without having the need, which I love by the way, this bit, without having the need of having alt accounts. So screw you guys that have been running alt accounts and sending 30 T-800s into battle on 10 solar whales. Guess what? We get that option now too. And look, it's amazing. That's the best feature so far. If that's how I believe it works, and that's how it reads, and that's how I think it works, it does make for quite an interesting bit of gameplay potential. Obviously, you know, alt accounts, they could maybe have 2 or 3 of these buildings, and all of a sudden you've got like 4 times the amount of solar whales on, and 4 times the amount of T-800s as a possibility. But we'll have to wait and see. Consecutive warp feature. This is another really good feature that they've added. I tell you what, the devs are doing quite well with these quality of life features. The more information in the ship screen, warp drive features, more ship fleets potential, and changes to org ops and relay, not relay. What are they called again? It's my short-term memory going. Rally ups and all that kind of stuff has really been quite useful so far. In the Lagrange network, even though the distance restrictions exist for a single time warp drive, using multiple warp coordinates whose mutual distances are within the limit to commence consecutive warp drives is absolutely possible in practice. To simplify the fleet commands, we will open up the consecutive warp drive feature, allowing fleets to confirm their warp staging points in advance when traveling to a distant location, and to consume all required action points at each one to reach the target. So your first warp might be like 5 AP, 10 AP. Second warp, it's probably 5 AP. Second warp, maybe if it's from one outpost to a different outpost, that's going to cost you double, and so on and so forth. Although I don't think it doubles and then doubles again, so you're safe there. So you could technically warp multiple times. Again, this is a really nice feature. Sometimes, busy weekend, big war's gone on, your guys have rushed forward across the entire system and you've been unable to get on, and now you're miles away and you can't get there in one warp. So what you have to do is manually warp to one place, wait, warp to the next spot, wait, and and you're doing that. This is going to allow you to just consecutively set that order line up of just warp, 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 and you can get over to catch up with your comrades, which is quite fun, and I actually quite like that. Again, great. Personal development updates. Lifting restrictions on resource node mining scale and adding a utility ship management feature. Resources play a vital role in the Lagrangian industry system. Therefore, resource mining is one of the crucial elements of exploration and development. As for now, explorers need to maintain and manage a large number of mining routes due to restrictions on resource node mining scale. We expect that explorers can allocate and manage their mining routes more freely. Hence, we will lift the restrictions on the mining scale, allowing any number of utility ships to be enrolled into the same fleet and carry out the mining tasks all together when mining resource nodes. Again, great update. Means that if you are limited on resources, or the spot you have may only have maybe 2 or 3 nodes on it, and in the mid game when you've got about 20 medium mining ships, that's kind of useless to you. So at least now you'll be able to put like 4 or 5 mining ships into one fleet. It's going to take the same amount of time basically to fill up, technically, because the mining increase from each one of them should be identical with the same identical storage. So this is actually just a nice quality of life resource, allowing us to put mining ships into mining fleets and having mining fleets go out. So now you can have maybe 3 mining fleets, 1 for metal, 1 for jute, 1 for crystal, sorted. Just a nice little one. To explorers, having a fleet with multiple utility ships mining simultaneously can significantly reduce their workload in route management, but switching mining targets will become more tedious. To achieve this, we are going to add a utility ship management feature to provide explorers with more convenience. Not entirely sure what that last bit's about. We'll have to wait and see. I can't understand why it'd be more difficult to switch, because you just switch as you do now. You press Halt on your mining fleet and go mine that one instead. So yeah, not entirely sure how that's going to work, or maybe I'm not understanding how the resource node thing is working. So we'll have to wait and see. Maybe it's like a cyclical utility ships going out, so one goes out as the other one come back, the other one's gone out, something like that, which would look really cool. If that's how that works, even better, because that, like I said, looks really cool. But we'll have to wait and see until that's actually out and about. And then we, last but finally, come to adding a production queue feature and optimizing the ship production experience. Explorers' fleets consists of various types of ships, so the shipyard often needs to switch among production targets. To improve the Explorer's ship production experience, we plan to add a production queue feature. When the base shipyard is producing ships, the type of a certain ship can be pre-selected and put into the production queue. For the ships added to the queue, the building resources will not be deducted in advance. After current production is done, the shipyard will start producing the ship in the queue immediately. So how I see this working, or how I think it's being described, is, well, it's one of 2 ways. One way is if you don't have the resources, you can still queue up the ships, and then once you have the resources, it will start building. The second way, which I think might be the way that they're describing, is, say you're building Winged Hussar AAs, and you want to be building later on, I don't know, Eris heavy cannons. What it's going to allow you to do is set up a queue, so once the Winged Hussars are complete, it starts building the the Erises. That's the other idea that might be going on here, but again, this one we're going to have to wait and see once it's in game. That's all for today's strategic gameplay update preview. We have been striving to construct a realistic yet interesting Lagrange network, providing explorers with more strategic options. Relevant updates will be released gradually, starting June 7th. Please stay tuned. So there we go. Loads of great quality of life improvements incoming, both for leaders of organizations and alliances, as well as players themselves. Even maybe a potential to reduce the gap between people that spam alt accounts, which is really nice. And yeah, it's going to be quite an interesting update once it launches, and I'll definitely be trying to go through it at some point and give you a bit more information on what's going on in game. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.